Doctors couldn't stop screaming when they realized what this baby is born holding. A mother put up a photo of her baby boy with a birth control device in his hand, which was implanted in her womb before her son's conception to prevent pregnancy. When we use birth control, we expect it to work. But given the fact that around 45% of all pregnancies in the U.S. are unintended, it's safe to say that not always what happens. In fact, because of birth control failure, I'm a member of a very exclusive club, women who've gotten pregnant despite using an IUD. And that club apparently has a new member. Mom Lucy Helen shared a viral photo of her newborn son clutching the IUD that utterly failed at keeping her from getting pregnant. Morena Fail. Helen wrote in the caption of her photo, her son Dexter was born on April 27th, and she says doctors later found her Mirena IUD hidden behind her placenta. For the record, her baby was not born clutching the IUD. It was placed in his hands afterward to score this hilarious photo. Dexter, who was born about a week shy of his due date, weighs 9 pounds and is perfectly healthy, which is why some, including Helen and her doctors, are calling the little guy a miracle baby. IUDs, or intrauterine devices, are about 99.9% effective at preventing pregnancy. But if you do get pregnant, it can be risky for you and the baby. Dr. Samuel Malloy, a physician registered by the UK's General Medical Council, who shares his medical expertise on drfelix.co.uk, says pregnancies like Helene's are very rare because IUDs increase the risk of ectopic pregnancy, where a fertilized egg implants in your fallopian tubes instead of your uterus. The chances of an ectopic pregnancy as a result of an IUD being in place can vary from around 15% to around 50%, he explained, and those pregnancies must be terminated to save the life of the mother. If you do have a viable pregnancy with an IUD in place and you decide to stay pregnant, most doctors will try to remove the IUD as soon as possible. That's what happened when I found out I was pregnant with my son a little over 2 years ago. My doctor told me I'd have about a 25% higher risk of miscarriage as a result of having my IUD removed. In circumstances where the IUD can't be safely removed, you can still have a successful pregnancy, as evidenced by Helene's photo, but you do have an increased risk of miscarriage or preterm labor. No matter how the cookie crumbles, getting pregnant with an IUD is a scary thing. Not only is it usually completed unexpected, but you also have to contend with so many medical risks and unknowns. I was nervous throughout my entire pregnancy with my son, even though it was textbook and we were both completely healthy. It's such a stressful situation. You barely have time to acknowledge the unexpected nature of your pregnancy or the unbelievable fact that you basically had less than 1% chance of conceiving and somehow still managed to do it. That's part of the reason why I identify so much with this mom's photo. Once the baby arrives and you see that he's healthy, it's like you finally get your first chance to exhale in 9 long, scary months. You laugh, you cry, you crack jokes about your IUD baby. It finally hits you that, holy shit, this kid really is 1 in a million. Luckily for moms like Helene and me, IUDs don't pose any risk to babies once they're born. If the pregnancy is successful, there's no evidence to suggest that the IUD will impact the baby's health in the future, Dr. Malloy says. Little Dexter should go on to lead a totally normal life, though not completely normal. After all, he's already proven he was born to beat the odds. What happened with this young was more shocking. A 20-year-old woman who got pregnant while on birth control has detailed the shocking moment her baby was born, with her IUD in his hand. Violet Quick from Idaho married her husband John Francis at 19, and while the two lovebirds weren't planning on having a child, just 1 year into their marriage they were met with a surprise when the now mom of one learned she was expecting. Violet and John welcomed their baby boy Rudy 1 week ago, and in a viral video, which has amassed 22.8 million views, the new mom shared footage of their son clasping her contraception device just moments after he was born. In the viral video, Violet showed footage of her newborn proudly holding up his mother's birth control. She revealed that Rudy left even the nurses in shock as they all rushed to see her IUD baby. When all the nurses came in to see a baby with his IUD, Violet captioned the video. In a series of videos, Violet revealed that she decided to take a pregnancy test out of precaution because she had been nauseous for the past 2 weeks. So I had my Skyla IUD for 9 months before I got pregnant, and the reason that I decided to take a test was because I was feeling nauseous for about 2 weeks, and I would just throw up every once in a while. I didn't know what was going on, and so I took a test, and it was positive right away, the 20-year-old explained. Not fully believing she was pregnant, Violet was stunned when she saw the positive result and proceeded to take 6 more tests to confirm her results. They were all positive, and I actually went to the ER, and I was 7 weeks pregnant, she explained. She advised her over 6,000 followers to take a test if they were experiencing any symptoms, even if they were on birth control. I would say if you're having any of those signs of pregnancy or if your period is late, to take a test. It's better to know because there is a high risk of having ectopic pregnancies when you have an IUD, but they work for the most part. Someone has to be 0.01%, and that's me and my baby, she added. And after the mom's photo of her newborn baby clenching the IUD in his tiny fist went viral, many wondered how one could even conceive a baby while having the contraception device inside them. An IUD is one of the most effective forms of birth control, with an over 99% success rate, meaning that fewer than 1 out of 100 people with an IUD will get pregnant each year. In very rare cases, you can get pregnant while using an IUD because your IUD has been misplaced. If an IUD slips out of place, the risk of falling pregnant increases. You can check the placement of IUD from the comfort of your home or go to your doctor's office to receive an ultrasound. To ensure your IUD hasn't moved on your own, insert your index or middle finger into your vagina. You should be able to feel the strings attached to the IUD, but not the plastic itself. If you're able to feel your IUD strings, contact your doctor to schedule an ultrasound exam. Violet revealed that her IUD was still in place when she discovered she was expecting. If you do fall pregnant with an IUD, you are more than likely to have an ectopic pregnancy or miscarriage, according to Healthline. However, many cases have also seen women like Violet give birth to a healthy baby while having the contraception device in them. An ectopic pregnancy occurs when a pregnancy developed outside the uterus. It can happen if a fertilized egg begins to grow in your fallopian tube. While rare, ectopic pregnancies are extremely serious and, if left untreated, even can be fatal. According to the International Journal of Women's Health, an estimated 2 out of 10,000 women with a hormonal IUD will experience an ectopic pregnancy, while it affects 5 out of 10,000 with a copper IUD each year. Miscarriages will occur when a pregnancy ends spontaneously after its 20th week, and also are more common while using the IUD. According to Healthline, if you want to stay pregnant, you should remove the IUD early in your pregnancy. And while doctors recommend the removal of the contraception device early in the pregnancy, sometimes they have no choice but to keep the birth control in. If the IUD strings curl up into the cervix due to the enlarging fetus, the IUD can't be reached, and attempting to remove it could potentially endanger both the mother or the pregnancy. And while the effectiveness rate is high, if an IUD slips out of place, the risks of falling pregnant increases. If you develop any of these signs or symptoms while using an IUD, contact your doctor and/or take a pregnancy test. The symptoms include fever, chills, excruciating pain or cramps in your lower belly, unusual discharge or heavy bleeding coming from your vagina, pain or bleeding during sex. And although rare, many women in Violet's comment section shared their own stories of their IUD babies. One user said, "Watching this with my IUD baby asleep in my arms." "Grown up IUD baby here," commented another user. Another user added, I have an IUD baby. She's almost 12 now, LOL. 7 weeks with my IUD baby. Got the IUD removed, but it happened while it was in, said one user. It seems that birth control device didn't work with this baby. A newborn boy's first photo this month was like no other. It included the birth control device that should have prevented his mother's pregnancy. Paula dos Santos Eucrudio Alvarez, 32, put her intrauterine device, IUD, in her son's hand while a professional photographer snapped away. Alvarez gave birth to her second child, Bernardo, in Rio de Janeiro on July 4th. Bernardo was born healthy at 36 weeks, weighing 7 pounds and measuring 19 inches. Birth photographer Michelle Oliveira described the newborn as a miracle because his mother had been using an IUD for 3 years. I've been a birth photographer for over 5 years. My inspiration is to make moments into memories for the family, especially for the baby, build stories, and create fond memories, Oliveira said. The IUD was placed in his little hand to represent his arrival. The baby was born, the IUD was removed straight away, and the doctor placed it in his little hand. The pregnancy rate for women using IUDs is just 0.6%, according to Rio de Janeiro obstetrician Beatriz Trumbiara. In most pregnancies involving the devices, doctors try to remove it at the earliest possible opportunity. Strings attached to IUDs are usually visible from the cervix, giving a doctor an easy way to remove it. But in Paula's case, it wasn't visible, so doctors couldn't retrieve it until the delivery. The risk of miscarriage, preterm birth, and infection before delivery is significantly higher when IUDs are kept in place during pregnancy, compared to pregnancies where the device is removed, according to the University of Texas Southwestern Medical Center. While IUD removal generally improves a pregnancy's outcome, there is still a much higher risk of complications compared to patients who never had one. In that case, the only option is to leave it in place to avoid injuring the mother or the fetus. This was not Paula's first miracle child. Her older son Gabriel was born when she was taking oral contraceptive pills. Oliveira said in her Instagram that Bernardo was determined to enter the world despite his mother's contraceptive practices. When he wants something, nothing will get in his way. This arrival was beautiful and exciting. What a joy to share this rarity. Welcome, Bernardo.